Now, in our third training, I would like to share with you some detailed information about energy. Firstly, I want you to know that years ago, I was among the people who did not believe in energy. These occurrences seemed really amusing and incredibly odd. When people mentioned energy, I would say, look, I'm doing it now, and produced energy. In fact, I was technically doing what I said because we were actually generating energy, because humans are actually like a battery. When we all wake up in the morning, our batteries are fully charged, and if we do the most important things we need to start the day, we use our energy correctly. And if you focus the right energy you use on what you want, no one can stop you. No one will have the intention of stopping you because you move quickly. People will tire of catching up with you, and quite the opposite. The people above will reach out to take you with them. An important point here is that if life is like a pyramid and you are trying to reach the top floor, this will destroy you with wealth, materiality, and happiness, whatever purpose you set out to do. Just as those above pulled you from below, when you ascend, you have to pull those below upward. Life has a cycle of giving and receiving. If you break it, you'll stay where you are. So whatever situation you're in right now, when you have more of what you want, rather you will become that person and you will become that thing. I always say most poor or poorly minded people have dreams like, when I have money, I will do this. When I have money, I will do that, and so on. And rest assured, none of them will do this, even if they have money, because money is really just a means, not an end. And if they are stingy when they have money, they will be even more stingy when they have money, because that's how these energies work. If it's real, if you can give to everyone right now, even when you don't have 5 cents in your pocket, which is reasonable, you will do this even more when you become rich. Remember, the most important thing is that everyone always gives when they have something. The important thing is being able to give when you don't have any money. This is a great virtue. I learned this in my life. So in this process, well, I'm not saying give everything to everyone, but what I'm trying to say is give what you need, because years ago in my career in e-commerce for about 15 years in different countries such as England, Lithuania, Turkey, and other European countries, both in terms of lifestyle and trading, I was physically there and always did business. Trading was taught to me from childhood because it came from my family. Our only job was to converse with people and sell products abroad, often to the whole world. This continues from my great-grandfathers until the present day. But there is something I have acquired during my time here that is really insightful. Things are genetic. That is, when we look at our ancestors in our DNA, we all carry a part of characteristics from them, although this is physically true, but these can change. I learned this too, because the best things did not always come from the universe. Bad things also happen, so they have to use karma to change them. Success in the background does come with a price. Being a child from a successful family was very different for me. I always had additional responsibilities while trying to accomplish things in my life. So I needed a solution, and divorce seemed like the worst thing during that time in my life. It seemed terrible, but once I understood it, it became one of the best things in my life. Above all, I discovered why I exist and what my purpose in this world is. Unlike before, when I was just a visitor, I lived a routine life, going to work from home and vice versa. I'm sure most of you do the same, because we all have needs in life and require money to fulfill them. But during this time, I realized that I only have 24 hours, and out of these, I could only work a total of 108 hours. I worked 18 hours a day with only 4 hours of sleep, and at the end of about a year and a half, I truly felt exhausted. I found myself at the center of more fatigue, stress, and incredible physical and health-related issues than I ever wanted to experience in my life. Despite my young age, I learned that sometimes we need to let things go instead of constantly chasing after what we want. Surrender is very important here, however. It doesn't mean I will stop working toward my dreams. The one thing I want to convey in this process is about possession. The thing you desire also wants you to have it. If you already have something, would you really work hard for it? Take a moment to ask yourself, you have a car parked in front of your house. Whatever the brand or model is up to you. Your friend calls you and invites you somewhere that requires you to drive. When you go out, you take your car, start it, and drive off with your friend. Now let me revert back to my question. You already own a car. The feeling of owning it is like this. Can you feel like you don't own a car when your friend calls, even though you do own a car? Sounds absurd, doesn't it? You might say, what is the connection? There is no car there. Yes, it seemed absurd to me years ago, but eventually I realized that if I worked day and night to buy a car, I wouldn't be able to get one. I tried a lot. I owned cars, many cars in fact, but what I'm trying to say is about the number of cars I owned. What I am trying to say is that when I felt like I owned a car, I always had one, even one so expensive that I could never afford. How do you think that happened? Existence consciousness. I already knew that I had that thing within myself, even when I didn't. People might think it's impossible to feel like you own something that doesn't exist. But the rule is, if you act as if you own what you want, it will be yours. If you work for what you desire until the end of your life, I can't specify a ratio, but I can say that the ones who believe will probably achieve it. However, since this intervenes in universal matters, it might take longer than expected, like working day and night, working hard and saving money or whatever. This concept is very important for me because I decided to take action on a day when I lost everything. It taught me that everything we possess is in fact just a gift bestowed onto us. Our sense of possession, the thought of claiming these gifts to be ours, works only for the ego, and it reveals to us that in reality, we own nothing. I realized this on that day. After going for a long walk, I made a promise to myself that no matter what happens, everything will be over one day. That is, this too shall pass. If you are happy right now, if you are sad at the moment, if you are under stress right now, even if the things you are doing might make breathing difficult, remember that this too shall pass. It may appear to you as the consolation of the struggling. Perhaps in Turkish it might sound better this way. Interpret it however you wish. But when you observe it from the perspective I mentioned, you will notice some changes. Because that's what I told myself during those hard times. I said, I know this is very tough, but this too shall pass. But this too will pass. And when I said this, I suddenly felt relief and asked myself, how can I regain everything I lost? Now, this is a process that takes time, and some things cannot be bought with money. Even if you have money, there are some things that you just can't buy. For example, time. Once time has passed, like when you need to go somewhere, you can't get that time back and relive it with money. You can't turn back and relive your child's growth with money. It's a wonderful thing. No matter if you buy cars, houses, or whatever you want, you can't get that time back. That's why we already have the most important thing, this moment, time. Every moment we live, every breath we take is already the most important thing we have. So if we have these, everything you want already exists. Sometimes it can be difficult to understand this. You may ask, how's that possible? You might be confused. Or if you say, I've been breathing for a long time but still haven't achieved anything, don't worry, because I believe that one of the most important things in life for every person to achieve everything they want or their goals is knowledge. When these problems occur, it's simply because they do not have the necessary knowledge. Are you currently having problems with money, relationships, or other things? The problem is very simple. It means that you do not have sufficient knowledge about this subject. By gaining this knowledge, you can remove this problem from your life. Now, let's move to training. While teaching you these things step by step, during that time I called myself Pollyanna, like a bar of happiness. Yes, you can always win, but still the issues persist. I convinced myself that day that yes, I will regain everything I lost. I said, I know this. I am continuing my life as if that's the case, and I set out. Now I'm going to tell you about my journey step by step and give you some tasks. I will guide you on how to properly navigate through this process. While sharing the information, please ensure you aren't distracted during this period, and that you aren't dealing with phones or other things around you in any way. Trust me, because the knowledge you're about to gain took me 15 years and a long time to acquire. I will guide you on the steps you should take to avoid going down the wrong paths that I encountered during the process. If you are ready, let's move on to our fourth lesson for achieving success.